Good afternoon. It's an honor to welcome you all to the 11th meeting of the Hague Roundtable on Climate and Security. I'm happy that you can join this first online meeting here on Earth Day.
Today's conversation is about building a transatlantic coalition for climate action on water and security challenges in countries of risk.
Many climate security issues play out through the water cycle. There are many hotspots where people are vulnerable to extreme weather conditions, which affect water access and quality. This can destabilize whole communities, particularly the most vulnerable ones. Clearly, we need to devote our full attention to the relationship between water, climate and security, increase understanding of the issue and take urgent action.
That in some ways water is almost the language through which climate change speaks to us, whether that's the rainfall, more rainfall that we feel or less rainfall that we don't feel, whether it's rising seas or shrinking lakes, whether it's melting ice or warming oceans, that this is how human societies are experiencing climate change in ways that maybe we don't always realize, but we're certainly experiencing. That this isn't just about how do we understand the risks to peace and the root causes of conflict, but also how we build peace together.
Because I very much agree with our moderator, who very smartly said the point here is not just to agree that there is a problem, but to have a concrete way forward to address it. So it is very much a work in progress, and it is very much, I think, an exciting time for transatlantic cooperation on this topic, because there has been, especially over the last months, an increasing political momentum, and there is really convergence across North America and in Europe that this is incredibly important. It's a generational challenge. We all have a role to play, and that cannot exclude our militaries. So we're very much thinking about how can we play our part.
The word urgency has been pronounced quite a number of times already in the first 37 minutes. And for me, I see a kind of tragedy of urgency, because we have been saying that the issue of climate change and security, or peace, water and security, that these are burning, urgent issues. But this, let's say, understanding, this analysis of a real urgency at hand has not led to urgent action. Study. We would love to do such an undertaking, look at a new region, interesting region when it comes to water scarcity and the link to climate change, perhaps also as a transatlantic undertaking. So my presentation here is also an offer stretched out to partners to say, well, why not look together into such a concrete issue that we have at hand and understand what is going on there.
I fully agree with the need to translate urgency into action. And in all the conferences where we come, we hear a lot of screaming noises calling for action, but we don't often hear solutions. We don't often hear how to translate that into action. To see how NATO is now picking up on the topic, how the US is changing its course and picking up and becoming a leader on this front. So I'm a very pleased man to see that we are creating momentum.
The urgency is all over the place. But the question is, how do we make it actionable?
So I think that's one thing I would like to see from the transatlantic relationship, is developing that larger community of practice and best practices at that.
How did Germany, the EU and the US can work together on this? Is this a meaningful way to get to scale, or what are the barriers you see? What are the opportunities in such a collaboration that it does lead to a higher level of impact that we so much see?
For me, water is a very political topic, and wherever you go inside a country, in an international river basin, water basin, this is a highly sensitive issue. And this we must keep in the back of our minds, because I see now that Antony Blinken has said 3 days ago that the climate crisis is going to be at the heart of US foreign policy. Now, this is a strong statement. I'm not sure whether any other foreign ministers ever said something like this. I'm not sure. But if it's really, if they want to live up to it, it completely changes the narrative of US foreign policy.
I think we all need to recognize at the same time that climate change is not a security problem as such. It's also not just an environmental problem. It really is a whole of society problem, and it requires whole of society answers. And none of us can deal with this alone. None of us can hide behind our national boundaries.
The challenge of climate change is a challenge with a very strong security impact, but it's by no means a military challenge or a challenge that can be securitized or militarized. The military can be an essential component of what needs to be a whole of society, whole of government response.
That's, when the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, says that he wants to put climate change at the heart of foreign policy, that's all of that is what he's talking about. So that it's not so much the only thing we do, but that it's a filter that never leaves us.
Especially now that we're having this great window of opportunity where not only the pressure is making us work, but also where the political constellation might be a one-in-a-lifetime constellation across the Atlantic that can help us act now, where governments in the US and in Europe are ready to act and ready to build synergies and work with everyone's strengths. I would like to phrase this as a call to all of you who participated in this call, to continue your important work that you're doing, to scale up the work that you're doing, and to look out for partners and for synergies.